This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good Erev Shabbos. Rabbi, I want to share with you just one inyan in halacha regarding Mincha on Erev Shabbos Chanukah. The Mishna Berura says at the end of Siman Tafresh Ayin Tes, Sivkat Beis, he writes, "V'katzu Achronim denochen charchila sheyispalo mincha tchila v'achar kach yadlik." The Achronim write, one should lecharchila first daven mincha and then light. So the question is why? Why should one first daven mincha and then light? Certainly we do that the rest of the week, but that's because the rest of the week we want to light when it's dark, so we would have to daven mincha first. But Erev Shabbos, we're lighting when it's light. Why would we have to, what would the inyan be to daven mincha first? So basically there are two pshatim found in the Achronim. The Sharat Tzion says that the reason to first daven mincha, says if you don't daven mincha first, it looks a little bit like tarti desasri. Why would it be a tarti desasri? He says because if you're lighting the menorah before shkia, which it's in general one should not do so, one has to light the menorah in the nighttime. So how could you light the menorah before shkia? So with the Erev, one could light the menorah from plaga mincha ve'elach, from plaga mincha. But that means you're establishing and you're being koveya that plaga mincha is already nighttime. So you're establishing plaga mincha is nighttime, you can't then go and daven mincha. You can't daven mincha in the nighttime. Therefore, says the Sharat Tzion, it is preferable to first daven mincha while it's ba'od hayom gadol, and then you're going to light the menorah la'achar the plag. However, the Sharat Tzion says, this is all when it's possible. Now, why does the Sharat Tzion say that? Why is this chumrah only when it's efshar? L'chayra, one should have no alternative, meaning one should be mechuyev to daven mincha first. If it's tarti desasri, then even if it's efshar. The answer is, many Achronim say that one could make the case that on Erev Shabbos they were not koveya to light the menorah in the nighttime. They allowed one to light during the day because Erev Shabbos you don't have an alternative. So it could be that Erev Shabbos you don't have to light in the nighttime. But there's another svara found in the Achronim, and this svara is mentioned in the Shari Tshuva from the Birkei Yosef in the name of Rav Shmuel Abuhav. Shmuel Abuhav was one of the Gedolei Italia, where he says another reason to be makbet to daven mincha before hadlakas ha-menorah, and that is because since the lighting of the menorah is a zeicher to the menorah in the mikdash, and in the mikdash, first they brought the tamid shel bein harabayim, which is the mincha, and then they lit the menorah, so therefore, in order for it to be a zeicher to the mikdash, one should first daven mincha and then light the menorah. So these are the two svaras in the Achronim. To the extent that the contemporary poskim, Rabbi Yashav, Shlomo Zalman discuss what's better. Is it better to daven biyechidos after hadlakas ha-menorah? In other words, it's better to daven biyechidos before the hadlakas ha-menorah, or to daven with a minyan after? And they say no, it's still davening with a minyan. A minyan supersedes the inyan of davening mincha before hadlakas ha-menorah. But nevertheless, the fact that they discuss the shaila, we see that the inyan is something to consider. As the Mishna Berura concludes, l'charchila one should try to daven mincha before they light the menorah.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.